Hey guys, welcome to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. The first thing I did was to fold my fabric into two to cut out the front. So you can fold your fabric like you're cutting out a flare, and you can fold your fabric like this to cut out an A shape. So for me, I'm using this A shape method. So to know the amount of fabric to fold, you're going to mark your hip circumference divided by 4. You add extra 4 inches for ease, and you add 1 inch for joining allowance. So the first thing I'll do is to take out 1.5 inches for my band. I want to add a band to the skirt, so I'll take out 1.5 inches for the band, and I'll go down by 8.5 inches, which is the distance from my waist to my hip. So after marking, I'm going to roll a straight line across. So this line is my hip line, and the start of my fabric is my waistline. The next thing I'll do is to take my skirt length. So still taking out the 1.5 inches for the band, I'm going to go down by 44 inches. Okay, so this is plus the folding allowance. So this is the length of my skirt. What I'll do now is to take half of my nipple to nipple measurement plus 1 extra inches to take in my dart. So after taking in my dart, I'm going to cut out, and since I'm cutting out directly on my fabric, I'll be needing allowance. So instead of taking half of my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches, I'm going to make it 5 inches, so that after splitting the front, because there is a slit at the front, I'll use the 1 inch allowance to join the fabric back together. So place half of your nipple to nipple measurement plus 1 extra inch. So after doing that, I'm going to connect the 2 points together. Okay, so for the dart, I'll be taking half inch on both sides of the straight line. Okay, after doing that, you're going to mark the length of your dart. So I want the length of the dart to be 4 inches, so I'm going to go down by 4 inches, and I'll connect like this. What I'll do now is to start placing my measurements. On the waistline, I'll place my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll replace the dart of 1 inch, and I'll add 2 extra inches for my joining and ease allowance. On the hip line, I'll place my hip circumference divided by 4, and I'll add extra 2 inches for joining and ease allowance. So 1 inch is my joining allowance, and the other 1 inch is my ease allowance. So on the base of the skirt, so like I said earlier, to fold your fabric, you'll be placing your hip circumference divided by 4. Then you add extra 4 inches and 1 inch for joining allowance. So in order for your skirt to be as free as the one you can see on the thumbnail, all you have to do is to place the measurements now. Okay, your hip circumference, then you add extra 4 inches. So it now depends on how wide you want your skirt to be, then 1 extra inch for joining allowance. So what I'll do is to slant from the hip now, giving it that A shape effect. Just slant all the way. So like I said earlier, you can fold your fabric in form of a flare. Okay, but this method will help you manage your fabric. So after slanting to that point on the base of the skirt, I'm going to go ahead and cut. So after cutting, this is what I have. So the next thing I'll do now is to extend my dart leg all the way to the base of the skirt. So remember, I took out 5 inches for my dart leg, so I'm going to extend it all the way to the length of my skirt. After doing that, I'm going to open my fabric up. So if you want a double slit on your skirt, you are going to mark out all the measurements that you have on this side. You are going to retake them on the other side, okay, so that you'll be able to split the dart open. But the slit on this particular skirt is just on one side. So if you want to add another slit, go in by half of your nipple to nipple measurement plus 4 inches on the center, okay, and then you are going to connect to meet the hip point like this, After doing that, you are going to mark the length of your dart. You take a half inch on both sides and you are going to connect it back to the 4 inches. I connected it all the way down, but it's supposed to stop on the 4 inches mark. So when I'm stitching the dart, I'll stop on the 4 inches mark, not all the way to the hip. Then you extend that straight line out. So I'm going to use this to cut out the back. I'll fold the back fabric into 2 and I'll place this one on it. I'll go ahead and cut like this. So the zipper is going to be at the side. That is why I did not add stitching allowance to the back. So now that I've used it to cut out the back, what I'll do now is to open up the slit area. Okay, so I'm going to cut through the straight line like this, and then I'll cut out the half inch on the side. So if you want to have another slit, you cut through the second dart again. Okay, so after splitting the dart open, next thing I'll do now is to sew them back together. So I'll be using the allowance that I added to half of my nipple to nipple measurement to stitch the dart close. Okay, so I'll place them right side facing right side. I'll pin. After pinning, I'll head over to my sewing machine to use 1 inch to sew. Okay, so I'm going to mark it out. Then you're going to determine where you want your slit to start from. So I'll take out the 1.5 inches from my band and I'll go down by 22 inches, which is my knee length. Okay, so I'll mark the knee length. On the knee length, I'll go up by 4 inches. So it depends on how open you want the slit area to be. So I went up by 4 inches from my knee line. On that point, I'm going to be marking 1 inch all the way to the waistline of my skirt. So I'll head over to my sewing machine to sew. So once I sew, this is what it's going to look like. So for the back, I'll go ahead and mark my darts. So I'll go in by 4 inches now, not 5 inches. I'll go in by 4 inches, which is half of my nipple to nipple measurement. I'll go down by 4 inches for my dart leg. I'll connect and I'll take half an inch on both sides. I'll connect upward like this. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. So take note that I'm doing all of this on the wrong side of my fabric. So after marking the darts on both sides, I'm going to head over to my sewing machine to take the darts. Okay, so for the front, I'll take the dart on this other side. Okay, I'll stop at the 4 inches after closing the slit area. So after sewing the slit area, this is what I have. I also took in my dart on this end. So the next thing we'll do now is to open it up and iron. Okay, open up this part, iron it flat, and on the slit area I'll be using my hemming gum to iron it so it lays flat on the wrong side. So after placing my hemming gum, I'll fold the slit area, okay, to cover the hemming gum, and I'll use my pins to hold it down. After doing that, I'll use my iron to iron everything flat. So once you do this, the slit area is going to come out looking neat. So I've gone ahead to iron the slit area, and this is what I have. For the back, I've also gone ahead to take in my darts for the back, and this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'll do is to place them right sides facing right side, and I'm going to pin on the sides. After doing that, I'm going to choose where I want to fix my zipper at the side. On that point, I'm going to go down by 9 inches, which is going to be the length of my zipper. Remember, I'm still taking out the 1.5 inches for my band. So I'm going to sew. So you are not going to sew in a way that you are shaping your skirt to fit. You are going to sew it following the A-line shape. Okay, so after sewing, this is what I have. So the side is open, which is the side I'll be fixing my zipper. So the next thing to do is to cut out our band. So measure around your waist. Whatever you have there is what you'll be using to cut out the band. After measuring, I went ahead to cut out this piece of fabric that I'll be using for my band. Okay, on fold it is 2 inches. I'll be using half an inch as the stitching allowance. Remember, I took out just 1.5 inches for my band. So you are going to pin this all the way around your waist area, and you go ahead and sew using half an inch. After sewing the band to the skirt, this is what I have. The next thing I'll do is to fix my zipper to the side opening, and then I'll hem the base of my skirt. So I could not get an after look for this skirt because my phone died, and the client I made it for had to come and take the skirt immediately. So I'm so sorry about that. But if you try this method, it's going to come out nice. If you want your skirt to be fuller, you can use the circle method. Okay, if the client I made it for send any picture or video, I'm going to post it in the community tab. Okay, so after doing all of this, go ahead and iron your skirt. And yeah, that is all for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next